So welcome all of you to Cross Yoga. My name is Ria, and I will be guiding you in English even though I live in Denmark. So Cross Yoga is yoga based on the Christian faith, and everyone is completely welcome even though you might not believe in anything or just have a different version of God than what would be the traditional Christian version. We're going to use postures and movement that you might know from regular yoga, but adding some reflections, at least today, some questions about yourself and maybe about God. All right. Straighten out your spine. Relax your shoulders. Take your hands out. Maybe you want to turn your palms up. Take a deep inhale, filling your lungs, filling your belly. And exhale. Letting go. Maybe you need to sigh out a whole lot because it has been a hard day. And if you're filled with anxious anxiety or worries, letting go while sighing out can be really amazing. Last couple of days I've been using this singing bowl, and I would like to use it again, just using it, clinging on it 3 times like a bell or a church bell. And just listen to the sound. Focus on the sound, maybe not the music behind you, and see if that does anything nice to you. I will say, in the name of the Father, in the name of the Son, Jesus Christ, and in the name of the Holy Spirit. Welcome. Closing your eyes. And breathe deeply. Trying to be present right now with your breath and with yourself. Trying to let go of thoughts about what have happened today. And thoughts about what might happen tonight, tomorrow, in the future. Just breathe right now. Make it easy. Receive the breath that you have been given. And as you're still sitting here with eyes closed, I want to read just a short verse from the Bible. It's from Matthew 7. Don't bargain with God. Be direct. Ask for what you need. This isn't a cat and mouse hide and seek game that we're in. I'll read it again. Don't bargain with God. Be direct. Ask for what you need. This isn't a cat and mouse hide and seek game that we're in. Message version of the Bible. Be direct and ask for what you need. And what do you need right now? Do you know? Remember, with God, there's nothing you can't ask for. Take your hands down on the ground. And then make a big circle with your hands and the outer palms meet on top of your head. Pulling your hands down in front of you. And do this a few more times. Inhale, take your hands up. And exhale, palms down in front of your chest. And if you want to close your eyes, maybe this movement can be your answer or your prayer, explaining for what you need, asking for what you need, and pulling it down in your heart. So if you need peace, put that peace in your hand as a prayer, pull it down. And you can ask for many things, so do that. Awesome. Next time your hands in front of you, stay here. Breathe. And then lean forward if you can, hands down the ground before you. And then you can sway a little bit gently from side to side, letting your head come down to your chest. So I call this free movement time. So whatever works for you, just keep moving. Eyes closed. Always welcome to use your shoulders as well. And keep just moving around. And come back to a straight spine, finding all fours, tabletop. If your knees are a little bit sore maybe, or of some reason you want to bend or fold your mat, welcome to do that. Hands underneath your shoulders, and then we do some bit cat-cows. As you take your spine towards the ceiling or the heavens, you exhale. And inhale gently the other way around. Cow pose. Exhale. Huge inhale. find your own rhythm, your own pace of breath. Beautiful. Next time your spine is straight, just stop there. Unroll your mat if you have that rolled out. Downward facing dog. Spreading out your fingers. Pinky finger reach the outer edge of the mat. And then walk your dog a little bit, bending one knee. Try to make it slow. A little bit slower than you would normally do. Micro bend your elbows, trying to think of being not too stiff in your down dog right now. So maybe you do everything here in down dog that you're told normally not to do, like really bending your knee or moving your neck, letting go with one hand, whatever you feel like. Being here on the mat is your time off, your free time to be who you are and who God created you to be. So make those movements yours as you warm up. And then very slowly, small steps to the front end of your mat. Coming into a forward fold. Taking hold of your elbows and swaying from side to side, bent in your knee. Breathe. Bigger bend in your knee as you release your elbows and roll yourself vertebrae by vertebrae up to a standing pose, mountain pose. Palms facing forward, shoulders back. And notice how you breathe. Can you breathe more deeply? And lift up your hands towards the sky. All the way up, coming up on your toes, so you lift your heels up, finding a little bit of balance if you can. If not, perfectly fine. Coming back on your heels, instead lifting your toes without falling back, of course. And then sway a little bit from side to side. If you want to play with this pose, you can go to the outer edge of the foot as well, the arc of the foot and stuff. Just play with your motion, the motions of your feet, arms up, engaging those shoulders. I know it's gonna maybe feel a little bit sore. And then take a hold with your fingers on your thumbs, standing just hip width apart with your feet, spread out your toes, thumbs interlace each other, and then lean back, bend, opening up your hip, opening up your shoulders, your chest. Gently coming back to a straight spine, releasing your fingers. Taking your hands down by your ribs, leaning forward. Try to go for as straight legs as you can. And taking a hold here when you're horizontal, it must be. Take your arms out to the side like airplane arms. Engage your core. And then gently from there, with your legs as straight as you can, come into a forward fold. It doesn't have to be deep. Just go with whatever works for you, how tight or not tight you are. If you want to have something here for your hands, you're welcome to do that. Small micro bend in your knee. Take your right leg back. Straighten it out to bend your front leg. Knee and ankle above each other. Hip goes low. And then take your left hand. Lift it forward, lift it up, make a huge circle. Again, always welcome to use something that elevates you a little bit. Warming out our shoulders. Beautiful. One more big circle. And take your hands down, or your fingers down here on the inside of your foot. Coming to your white stand. Now maybe you can't see me, but you can still hear me, I hope. Toes pointing a little bit inward. You don't have to be completely wide standing, but go as far as you want to. Head down. Stretching hamstrings, back of your leg, inside of your leg. Top of your head moving towards the floor, however deep you can go. Now I actually would love you to turn back, meaning away from the camera that you might have in front of you. So turning your back to me. But you know this move, it's the one that we did just before lunge legs. This time, opposite direction. So I would guess your right hand up. And again, big circles, deep breaths. Moving your hand around. Nothing here is right or wrong. As long as you enjoy it, you might also feel a bit of tension, but that can also be something you know is good for you. One last big circle. Again, to the middle of your mat, white stand. This time, don't let your head fall down. Instead, take your right hand here. Again, using something to elevate you if you need to. Not in between your legs, but in front of your legs. And take your left arm towards the sky, trying to go with a vertical, I think it's called, line from hand to hand. Breathing. And let go. Moving the opposite way around. I just want very shortly to go back to the verse. It's not a cat and mouse hide and seek game that we're in. God is never playing games. I know in some religions and mythologies, the gods are playing games with the human beings. But this is not the biblical God. He doesn't do anything just for fun. Okay? And I think maybe some of us think, especially when hard things happen, that we must be in some sort of a sick game, but that's not God's game. Moving back to downward facing dog, coming into child's pose, bending your knees, toes, maybe together, get some space in between your knees, your forehead on the ground. If you want to feel a shoulder stretch, take your hands really far away from your feet, palms on the floor on the mat. And what this verse with, not a cat and mouse game we're in, that version of it, reminds me that God is not changing in the way that I might. I can be moody. Yes, I can. I guess you can too. Happy, angry, impatient, ecstatic, sad, whatever. But God is the same. Yeah, he has emotions as well, but his personality doesn't change. He's the same. And it's so comforting to know in these times where there's so much uncertainty that there is something that's always the same. A rock that will never change. Coming up on all fours again. Spreading out your fingers, downward facing dog yet again. Taking your right leg, lifting it up. Go for your hip opening pose. So bending your knees, letting your heel reach towards your glutes as much as possible. You can take a look underneath your right armpit if you like. Making sure you micro bend your elbows a tiny bit. And if you don't like being still and breathing for a few moments, you can always make circles with your hip. One last breath. Closing your hip. Moving your right leg, a foot to the front end of your mat. Turning around the back foot, finding warrior two, lifting up, and then going to bend your front knee. Distance here is up to you, however deep or not deep you want to go. Hands out. Let's go for a side stretch. Take elbow down here without just leaning down. And then lean to the side, lifting up your hip a little bit. You can either stay here, or if you want to go for your bind, maybe that's more advanced, let's see. You can take your hand down on inside of your foot. Take a lifted arm behind you. This could be your first step to the bend. If you can reach underneath your knee and lift up, go for that. Breathe. And let go. Hands down, releasing back heel, meaning lifting up, finding a balanced pose. Warrior three. Now we're getting a little bit of warm here. Hips closed. Back knees, foot kicked out. And then either an airplane, hands out to the side, or take your hand forward, maybe palms together for your warrior three. Keep breathing as we're staying here. It doesn't have to be beautiful. It's not a game we're in, just trying. 2 more breaths. Ooh, and try not to fall down. Downward facing dog. Exhale. Hugely out through your mouth. And let's go for your left leg. Lift your left leg up, bending your knee, opening up your hip, and go for that 3-legged dog. Keep breathing. Shoulders away from your ears. And if you kind of fall or glide on your mat, you can always bend your mat a little bit if that helps. Sometimes it does. If not, maybe you should go for a new mat. Okay, closing your hip again. Taking your knee, foot to the front end of your mat. Gently turning back foot, warrior two. Take your time, arms out. Looking to your front hand, shoulders away from ears. Finding a pose, a version of your warrior two that you actually Enjoy. Side stretch, elbow down, reach forward, making sure shoulders are not down, but stacked on top of each other as much as you can, and then maybe lift your hip a little bit higher. Still deep bend in your knee. We did the binding before, you saw it backwards, so maybe you want to see it the other way around. So take that lifted hand behind you, and that hand here from your thigh down to the ground underneath your knee cap, and see if your fingers can reach each other. If your fingers can't reach each other, fine. Try not to go for chest towards the mat, but lifting up top shoulder. So again, shoulders as much as you can stacked above each other. Now this is a hard pose, so breathe. Stay here as long as you can, until I say so. And let's release. Feel that. The last pose before we go for some stretching. Left leg to the front, lifting up. Right leg, closing your hip, flexing your foot again. Warrior 3 or airplane if you prefer. If you did your training before with me, the strength training, your legs might be tired like mine is. But try to breathe. And let go. Coming down on your belly, stack your hands, forehead on your hands. Let your toes point a little bit together so your kneecaps are not directly on the mat. Relax. The Bible also said, don't bargain with God. And that is so human thinking. If I do this for you, you can do this for me. And this is also what I would say almost all other religions, if not all religions, are centered around a kind of a bargaining. So if I am good, you help me, God, when I die, right? If I have good karma, then I'll have a better life. If I'm good enough, I'll get to heaven. But in the Christian God, it's not about bargaining. It's about receiving. Actually just about receiving, saying, okay, yeah, I know I can't do it by myself. And there's so much relief in that. Going for our bow pose. Bow pose, it's called. Flexing your feet, bending your knee. Now, injured backs or just backs that doesn't do well with back bending, just stay here or do your cobra. If you can reach your ankle with your hands, try to go for that, not your foot. Trying to get your knees a little bit together, kicking your ankles out in your hands, lifting your chest. And I squeeze my shoulder blades pretty well together. And gently let go. Again, stacking your hands, toes pointing inwards, forehead on the ground. And breathe. Stretching our hips, hip flexors, and after that going into our spine before a resting pose. We're gonna go for left knee on the ground, so let's take right foot front. If you switch that up, never mind. But shoulders inside your knee here, or your thigh. Going down, moving your hip both forward and down. And the further distance there is from your heel to your knee, the more you'll feel the stretch. If you're really flexible, you probably won't feel this. But maybe you will if you lower down a little bit. No need to come down on your elbows, but if you can, go for it. And deep breaths. Relax thighs. Wherever it hurts, try to breathe into those areas. Have you been bargaining with God lately? Maybe you haven't been thinking consciously about it, but maybe you have been. Like, God, if I bake this cake, then you better. Something like that. Have you been doing that? Coming up on your hands. Don't leave the question, even though we're leaving the posture. Of course, same stretch, just the other direction. Make sure the whole foot here is on the mat, not lifting or going out to the side. Starting with your hands, moving down. And mentally, maybe coming back to the bargaining question. Just because I think that maybe we need to be conscious about if we think of that bargaining mentality, and instead of bargaining with God, trying to strike a deal, maybe just asking God, just help me with that. Be direct. That was the next sentence, right? Be direct. God, just help me with that. Just help me. Coming back. Lay down on your back. If you're kind of getting cold now, you might want to get socks or just something on. We're not in resting pose yet, but getting there. So bending your knees, and then you can take it maybe out to your right side. 90-degree angles in your knees. Now the shoulder that's free, go to the other way around. Try to reach the floor. If not, just bend your elbow. Maybe your elbow can reach. So you're twisting your spine. I like just having my nose pointing up. And as you lay down here, breathe. Deep, deep belly breaths. Try to relax everything in your body. Come back to your spine, gently and slowly. And of course, moving to the opposite direction. Knees bended out to the other side. You will feel this maybe here, and maybe on your lower back. If you don't feel anything at all, take the top leg and pull it underneath the bottom leg, and maybe you'll feel it a little bit more. Any tension, release it. And then come back, resting pose. Laying down on your back, straightening out your legs, toes pointing out, hands down on the ground, pinky finger points towards your thighs. If you love feeling your breath because that calms you, you can always take a hold of your belly and chest, or just belly here, and just relax there. Eyes closed, not forced closed, and mouth a little bit open. And before we rest a little bit more, just be direct with God. Is there anything you feel like you have been holding back? It can be from other human beings, because it's not nice to say something. But God asks you to be direct. Throw it at Him. Tell Him exactly what it is that you're longing for or needing right now. Don't be polite. I mean, He went to the cross for us. So don't you think He can carry whatever guilt, shame, hate you might feel, impatient or whatever. Self-loathe, maybe. So be direct. Just tell God what it is that's maybe holding you back. And please still stay down on your mat. And if you're done throwing things or being direct, listen to this verse a little bit later. So don't you think the God who conceived you in love will be even better than love from father, mother to children? The God who conceived you in love. So you can stay in your meditation, maybe just receiving that you are loved. You don't need to bargain or anything. You're loved through Jesus Christ. And that is so precious. But we need to remind ourselves of it. I do, at least. As before beginning, I would like to finish your time. You just still stay on your mat, down in resting pose, finishing with a little singing ball sound. The name of the Father. The Son, Jesus Christ. And the Holy Spirit. So stay on your mat if you have option of doing that. And just relax, maybe take a nap if you need it. It's okay to do that. And I hope to see you, if you speak English, Tuesday, Friday. If you speak Danish, the whole week. And all of this, most of it at least, on our YouTube channel. God's blessing to you through the weekend. Take some resting time. No homeschooling and all of that. Thank you so much.